Welcome, dear friends, to another journey of imagination and renewal. This is TERAFLORA Studio, a place where ordinary things bloom into extraordinary wonders. Here, every story we tell, every idea we share, carries a gentle reminder. Beauty is always closer than we think. Before we begin, let me speak with clarity and honesty. The content you are about to enjoy has been carefully crafted with the assistance of artificial intelligence. It is a tool, not a replacement for creativity, but a companion that helps us weave ideas into forms you can see, hear, and recreate in your own life. This is our disclaimer, spoken with openness. What you hear is guided by AI, but the heart of these creations comes from the spirit of sharing, inspiring, and growing together. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a quiet garden in the golden light of summer. Bottles, once forgotten, glisten with new life. Pathways glow with soft pastel fences. Arches sway with suspended glass, and playful colors dance across the leaves. These are not just decorations. They are acts of transformation, simple gestures that turn waste into wonder. At TERAFLORA Studio, we believe in more than just DIY projects. We believe in stories that remind us of patience, creativity, and the joy of making something with our own hands. And through these stories, we hope you will feel inspired to create, to discover, and to look at the world with kinder eyes. If this vision resonates with you, we warmly invite you to join our growing family. By subscribing, you are not only supporting this channel, but also nurturing a community built on beauty, creativity, and care. Together, let us continue to transform the simple into the extraordinary. There is something magical about walking through an archway. It feels like a threshold between the everyday and the extraordinary. In the garden, a simple arch made from recycled bottles can transform even the smallest corner into a place of wonder. Imagine bottles, once discarded and forgotten, now suspended like jewels in the air. They catch the sunlight, refracting it into soft shades of green, amber, and rose. Each one swings gently with the breeze, creating a subtle melody of glass and light. This arch does not demand perfection. It invites play. You can use bottles of different shapes and sizes, tying them with string, thin wire, or even fishing line. Some bottles can remain empty, shimmering like dewdrops, while others can hold wildflowers picked fresh from the morning garden. When the wind brushes past, the bottles move together, creating a dance of reflections on the soil below. It is both art and function, a handmade portal that frames your garden in color. What makes this project so inspiring is its accessibility. You do not need expensive tools or rare materials, just a collection of bottles, some creativity, and a willingness to see beauty where others see waste. The arch can be built over a small garden path, at the entrance to a vegetable patch, or even between two trees. Children will love to walk under it, brushing against the dangling bottles and watching the shifting colors. Garden visitors will pause, smile, and perhaps feel like they have stepped into a secret storybook world. There are also practical tips to make it last. If you want extra sparkle at night, tuck in small LED lights inside a few bottles. If you wish for a more natural look, let climbing vines weave through the bottles, softening the structure with living green. Over time, the arch will evolve with the seasons, sometimes bare, sometimes lush, but always alive. And perhaps the greatest beauty is not just in how it looks, but in what it represents. A choice to give waste a second life. A reminder that creativity blooms when we allow our hands and hearts to work together. With each bottle you hang, you are not just decorating your garden. You are writing a story of renewal. There is a certain charm in a garden path. It invites you to wander, to slow down, to let curiosity guide your steps. And when that path is bordered by bottles painted in soft pastel shades, it feels like walking through a dream. Imagine a trail edged not with stone or brick, but with colors that whisper: lilac, mint, buttercream, rose, and sky blue. each bottle standing proudly in the earth. A simple boundary that feels both playful and tender. This kind of project reminds us that beauty does not need to be grand to be meaningful. Empty bottles, once set aside for the trash, can become a fence that leads you through the garden. The pastel hues catch the morning sunlight, glowing like gentle lanterns along the way. Children run their fingers across the tops, fascinated by the cool, smooth texture. Bees pause for a moment, resting on a mint-painted cap before darting back to the blooms nearby. Creating this pastel fence is simple. Collect bottles of similar size, clean them well, and paint them in soft colors that harmonize with your garden. Press them into the soil along your chosen path, close enough to form a continuous line but varied enough to catch the light differently with each step. Imperfections are not flaws. They are what give the fence its handmade charm. The best part is how adaptable this idea can be. In a small backyard, the pastel fence can frame a short walkway to a sitting corner. In larger gardens, it can mark winding trails through beds of flowers, herbs, or vegetables. You might even use it to border a play area for children, creating a safe and colorful boundary that sparks their imagination. Over time, the bottles will age, the paint will soften, and the fence will take on the character of the seasons. You can refresh it with new colors whenever you like, changing the palette to suit your mood or the flowers in bloom. Each repainting is not just maintenance. It is a chance to reinvent beauty. And perhaps most importantly, this project is a reminder. Even small things can transform a space. Even discarded bottles, given a touch of color, can guide footsteps and create joy. A pastel path does not just lead you through the garden. It leads you into a gentler way of seeing the world. In the quiet corner of a garden, something begins to turn. It does not move with engines or power, but with the gentle breath of the wind. Brightly painted bottle caps, once forgotten, now spin with life. These little wind spinners may be simple, but they bring a sense of joy that feels larger than their size. Picture slender rods standing in flower beds, each topped with a handmade spinner crafted from bottle caps. Some are painted in sunny yellows, others in deep blues, fiery reds, or soft greens. As the breeze moves through the garden, the spinners whirl gently, like small blossoms set into motion. Each turn catches the sunlight, sending flashes of color across the leaves and petals below. What makes bottle cap wind spinners so delightful is their playfulness. They don't simply decorate the garden, they animate it. Children giggle as they race to see which spinner will turn the fastest. Bees hover curiously, circling the movement before returning to the flowers. Even the quiet observer feels a smile forming, drawn in by the rhythm of spinning colors. Creating these spinners is an easy project for any gardener or DIY enthusiast. Gather bottle caps in different shapes and sizes. Paint them with bright, cheerful colors that contrast with your garden. Drill a small hole in the center and attach them to slim rods or old sticks. With just a few twists of wire or nails, you will see them come to life with the first breeze. The beauty of this craft is its flexibility. You can make them large or small, set them in flower beds, or line them along pathways. For evening charm, you can even paint them with glow-in-the-dark paint, so they shimmer gently when the sun sets. Over time, as the paint fades, you can refresh them with new designs, stripes, dots, or even little flower patterns, making the spinners evolve with the seasons. These wind spinners may not feed the soil or water the plants, but they add something equally important: delight. They remind us that gardens are not only about growth, but also about play, movement, and color. From something as small as a bottle cap, you can create a burst of joy that dances with the wind. At the edge of the garden, sunlight spills across a structure that looks as though it belongs to a storybook. It is not glass that forms its walls, but bottles, clear, green, rose, and buttercream, stacked together like a patchwork quilt of color. This is a greenhouse, reborn from what others might have thrown away. And inside, young herbs lean toward the warmth, thriving beneath its gentle shelter. There is something enchanting about a greenhouse made from bottles. Each panel is alive with character. No two bottles are exactly the same. Their curves bend the light differently, scattering rays across the soil like watercolor strokes. As basil unfurls its leaves and chamomile reaches upward, they bask in a kaleidoscope of filtered sunshine. The space feels softer than glass, warmer, more personal. It is not perfection. It is a garden's heartbeat stitched together with care. Building one may seem ambitious, but it is surprisingly approachable. All you need are clean bottles of similar size, wooden or bamboo frames for support, and patience to slot the bottles together, side by side, row by row. The air trapped inside each bottle becomes insulation, keeping warmth within and protecting delicate plants on cooler nights. It is a practical marvel hidden beneath layers of poetry. Step inside and you notice the hush. The air is still, the scent of soil and strawberries hangs lightly, and the world outside feels a little quieter. Children press their faces to the walls, fascinated by the colors glowing from the sun. Visitors pause in awe, not just because of its beauty, but because of what it represents. A simple rebellion against waste, a choice to give plastic a second life. Over time, vines may climb the frame, weaving green threads through the bottles. Seasonal flowers might spill nearby, painting the entrance with brightness. And when evening comes, you can place small solar lights along the roof, so the bottles glow like lanterns under the stars. This greenhouse is more than a place to grow plants. It is a story of transformation. Each bottle whispers of yesterday's use, today's reinvention, and tomorrow's harvest. In giving them a new purpose, you also create a sanctuary for growth, beauty, and quiet joy. Beneath the wide arms of a tree, where roses lean in and mint grows wild in clay pots, stands a table unlike any other. At first glance, it glitters, not with expensive glass or marble, but with the fragments of old bottles. Shards once destined for the trash now come together as a mosaic, a patchwork of color and memory. Turquoise glimmers beside coral, yellow flickers beside rose, and suddenly the ordinary becomes extraordinary. There is something deeply personal about a mosaic. Each piece carries its own shape, its own imperfections. Together, they form a surface that tells a story of reuse, of creativity, of a gentle rebellion against waste. As the sunlight filters through the leaves above, the table shimmers as though alive. Every meal, every cup of tea shared here feels touched by art. Creating such a table is simpler than it first appears. Begin with an old table or even a wooden board. Collect bottles of different colors, cut or break them into small, smooth fragments, and arrange them into patterns, flowers, waves, or even abstract designs. Secure them with adhesive, then seal with a clear resin or varnish to create a smooth surface. What once was broken now becomes a place where stories are told, laughter is shared, and meals taste a little brighter. The charm of a bottle mosaic table lies not only in its appearance but also in its versatility. Place it under a tree for a cozy tea corner, beside a vegetable patch for garden breaks, or on a patio where friends gather. Over time, the surface may catch drops of rain, petals drifting from above, or shadows cast by passing butterflies. Each season leaves its mark, adding to the poetry of the piece. It is also a reminder of patience. Each fragment must be placed carefully, thoughtfully, much like how we build our lives, with pieces that may seem broken but still hold beauty. And when visitors sit at this table, they do not just see color. They feel the warmth of hands that chose to turn waste into wonder. Here, among herbs and blossoms, the mosaic table shines quietly, not shouting for attention, but humming with the simple truth. Beauty can be built from what is left behind. And sometimes, the most broken pieces create the most dazzling whole. In the corner of the garden, where light and shadow play together, stands a wall that hums with color. At first it seems like stained glass, a spectrum caught in motion, but when you step closer you realize it is made from bottles. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet, lined carefully side by side, each bottle transformed into a brushstroke on the canvas of the garden. The morning sun pours through the bottles, scattering patches of color across the grass. Daisies seem brighter here, marigolds glow as though touched by fire, and grapevines climb eagerly along the edges. The wall does not separate, it invites. It turns an ordinary corner into a living painting, one that changes with every shift of the light. What makes this project special is its simplicity. Collect bottles in different shades, clear, colored, or painted by hand. Arrange them vertically or horizontally, fastening them to a wooden or metal frame. With patience, the bottles form a solid structure, one that is sturdy yet filled with joy. When sunlight touches it, the garden becomes a prism, alive with motion and color. There are many ways to adapt this wall. In a small backyard, it can hide an unsightly fence or mark the edge of a vegetable patch. In larger spaces, it can stand as a centerpiece, drawing visitors to pause and marvel. Some bottles may hold small plants, others may carry fairy lights for evenings. When the wall shifts from rainbow brilliance to gentle, glowing magic. The beauty of the rainbow bottle wall is that it transforms waste into wonder. Bottles that once held soda or water now hold light, joy, and inspiration. They remind us that color is always within reach, waiting to be revealed. And perhaps on quiet afternoons, when the sun strikes just right, the wall will remind you of childhood's stained glass windows or the first time you saw a rainbow after the rain. This wall is more than decoration. It is an invitation to slow down, to look closer, to see how even discarded things can shine again when placed with care. In its presence, the garden does not just bloom, it sings. Among rows of herbs and flowers, there is often a small challenge, remembering what grows where. Is this thyme or oregano, basil or mint? The answer becomes clear with the help of simple, charming plant markers. But not just any markers. These are blossoms made from bottle caps, bright little blooms that guide both gardener and guest. Picture a basil patch with a cap painted like a soft pink daisy, or a row of thyme marked by a sunny yellow sunflower made from plastic. These markers are playful, colorful, and practical all at once. They transform something forgotten, caps from bottles, into blooms that never fade. And the garden, already alive with flowers, smiles with even more color. Making them is an easy joy. Start with clean bottle caps. Paint them in cheerful shades: lavender, mint, coral, buttercream. Glue several caps together in a circle to form petals, or keep it simple with one cap painted as a single flower. Add a small stick or wooden skewer as the stem, and write the plant's name across the surface with permanent marker or paint pen. Place them in the soil beside your plants, and suddenly your garden becomes both labeled and decorated. These little markers are more than labels. They are companions. They make gardening easier for children, who can learn plant names while helping water and harvest. They add a touch of whimsy for visitors, who smile at the tiny blossoms peeking from the soil. And they save you from the guesswork when herbs look alike in their early stages. Over time, the paint may weather, softening into pastel tones. You can refresh them easily with new colors, or let the fading hues blend into the natural rhythm of the garden. Each season can bring a new palette of blooms, from spring pastels to summer brights, even autumn earth tones. In their smallness, these bottle cap flowers hold a big truth. Beauty does not need to be grand to be useful. Waste, when touched by creativity, can guide, delight, and teach. And every time you kneel beside a row of herbs and read the name from a painted bloom, you are reminded gardens are not just about plants. They are about stories, memories, and joy in the details. Hidden among the tall grass and fragrant beds of lavender lies a secret passageway, a tunnel that curves gently across the garden floor. It is not carved from wood or brick but built from bottles, clear and bright, linked together like beads of light. For children, it is irresistible. They crouch low, crawling inside, their laughter echoing against the hollow curves of plastic. What once was waste now holds stories, games, and wonder. There is magic in a tunnel like this, Sunlight filters through the transparent walls, casting playful patterns that dance across faces and soil. From inside, the world feels different, slowed, softened, alive with imagination. Children pretend they are explorers in a hidden cave, adventurers on a secret trail, or even creatures moving beneath the earth. Every crawl through the tunnel sparks a new adventure. Building it is not as complicated as it seems. Collect bottles of the same size, cut off the tops and bottoms, and link them together in a continuous line. The smooth plastic curves fit snugly, forming a hollow tube that bends and twists across the ground. Secure the sections with tape or wire, and soon you have a tunnel that is both sturdy and safe. Placed among plants, it blends into the garden as if it belongs there. The tunnel is not just for play, it's also a symbol of creativity. Children see that waste can become wonder, that ordinary things can be transformed into extraordinary adventures. Parents see their garden become more than just a space for plants. It becomes a playground for imagination, a place where memories are made. Over time, the tunnel might host picnics with dolls, hide-and-seek games, or even moments of quiet rest where children lie inside, watching sunlight ripple across the walls. As seasons change, the tunnel changes too, sometimes filled with autumn leaves, sometimes sparkling with frost, always ready for a new story. What makes this project so meaningful is not just the fun it brings, but the lesson it teaches. Beauty and joy can be created with simple hands and simple materials. In every bottle joined together, there is proof. Creativity is stronger than waste. And when laughter fills the air, you know the tunnel has become more than plastic. It has become part of the soul of the garden. Along the edge of the patio, pots gather like guardians of green. But these are no ordinary pots. Their surfaces shimmer with fragments of color. Pieces of bottles, once jagged and overlooked, now frame each pot in patterns of petals, diamonds, and waves. Turquoise gleams beside coral, yellow flickers beside rose, and suddenly the humble flower pot becomes a canvas of light. There is something deeply grounding about mosaic work. Each shard carries a story of its past, yet together they create something wholly new. When placed on pots, the effect is both striking and tender. Herbs like basil, thyme, or rosemary spill over the mosaic edges, their fragrance mingling with the colors below. Flowers rise tall, framed not only by clay but by light itself, bouncing off each recycled fragment. Making these mosaic pots is easier than you might think. Gather bottles in different shades, cut or break them into small pieces, then smooth the edges with sandpaper. Arrange the shards along the surface of an old pot, forming shapes, perhaps petals, suns, or simple flowing lines. Glue them carefully and seal with a waterproof coating. What was once trash becomes an ornament, not hidden but celebrated. These pots shine brightest when grouped together. Imagine a corner of your garden filled with them, each one catching the sunlight in its own way. Some sparkle in the morning, others glow in the evening, and together they create a living gallery of color. As the seasons pass, the plants inside change, but the mosaic remains, faithful, resilient, timeless. The beauty of mosaic pots is not just in their appearance, but in what they represent. They remind us that even broken things can be part of something beautiful again. A shard may seem useless alone, but placed with care, it becomes essential to the whole. In many ways, these pots mirror life itself, where imperfections weave into patterns of strength and beauty. When guests see them, they do more than admire. They pause, they smile, they reach out to touch the cool, colorful edges. And in that moment, they understand the garden is not just grown, it is crafted. Every mosaic pot is proof that beauty does not need to be bought. Sometimes, it only needs to be reimagined. As the sun dips low and the first stars appear, the garden begins to change. What was bright with daylight now shimmers with lantern light. Bottles, once tossed aside, hang like glowing fruits from branches. Inside them, soft flames dance, some from real candles, others from gentle LED bulbs, casting emerald, ruby, and sapphire light across the garden. feels like stepping into an enchanted evening. There is a special magic in bottle lanterns. During the day, they are simply colorful decorations, catching sunlight as they sway. But when twilight arrives, they awaken. The warm glow spilling through their painted or tinted sides transforms the garden into a place of wonder. Paths become illuminated, flowers gleam softly, and conversations feel warmer beneath their glow. Making these lanterns is easier than it looks. Start with sturdy bottles, clean them thoroughly, and either paint them with transparent glass paint or leave them in their natural shades. Cut or drill a hole for ventilation, and place a candle or small light inside. Secure a wire around the neck and hang them from branches, pergolas, or even a simple wooden frame. Each lantern becomes unique, shining with its own character. What makes this project so delightful is how versatile it is. For quiet evenings, just a handful of lanterns are enough to create a serene atmosphere. For gatherings or celebrations, dozens of lanterns can transform the space into a glowing wonderland. Imagine friends gathered under their light, children marveling at the colors, and the air alive with laughter and music. Lanterns also connect us to something timeless. Across cultures, light has always symbolized hope, welcome, and renewal. By reusing bottles to create lanterns, you are not only decorating your garden but also weaving yourself into that ancient story of finding light in unexpected places. As the night deepens, the lanterns sway gently with the breeze, their glow steady and comforting. The garden feels both alive and at peace, a place where time slows down. And when the candles finally burn low, what remains is not darkness, but memory. The image of bottles reborn as stars, shining in your very own backyard sky. In the quiet shade of the garden, near the roots of an old tree, stands a tiny house that seems to belong to another world. Its walls curve from recycled bottles, its roof is softened with moss, and a little chimney twists toward the sky. Windows, no bigger than a coin, peek out as though watching the world pass by. This is a fairy house, not imagined, but handmade, crafted with care and creativity from what was once waste. There is something enchanting about placing such a house in the garden. Children stop in their tracks, whispering secrets as they kneel beside it, convinced tiny beings might live within. Adults smile, drawn back into childhood wonder for a moment, reminded that imagination does not fade with age. The garden feels richer, layered with a touch of story and mystery. Creating a fairy house from bottles is a joyful process. Begin with a sturdy base, an old plastic or glass bottle cut and shaped as the body of the house. Add clay, bark, or even small pebbles to form details. Paint doors, windows, and tiny shutters. Use moss, dried flowers, or twigs to decorate the roof, making it look like part of the earth itself. Every imperfection adds character, every detail invites curiosity. Placed at the base of a tree, within a flower bed, or along a shaded path, the fairy house blends naturally into its surroundings. In the mornings, dew may sparkle across its roof. In the evenings, you can tuck a small solar light inside, so the windows glow gently as though someone has returned home. The true beauty of this project lies in its storytelling. A fairy house transforms the garden into more than just a collection of plants. It becomes a stage for imagination, a place where nature and creativity meet. For children, it can spark endless adventures. For adults, it offers quiet reminders that magic can be handmade. Every bottle used tells a story of transformation. From forgotten plastic to whimsical wonder, the fairy house shows that joy is not bought, it is built. And when visitors stumble upon it, they find not just a decoration, but a reminder. The world is still full of hidden doors, if only we choose to create them. In the center of the garden rises a tower, not carved from stone or built with bricks, but formed from bottles stacked carefully, one upon another. From each opening spills life, succulents of every shape and color, their leaves thick with water, their patterns like small works of art. Jade plants cluster at the base, echeveria rosettes bloom midway, and from the top, a string of pearls cascades gently downward. This is the succulent bottle tower, a sculpture of rebirth. The beauty of succulents lies in their resilience. They thrive in places where others may struggle, holding life within their leaves. And when planted in recycled bottles, their charm multiplies. Each bottle becomes a cradle, holding not just soil but a piece of green wonder. Together, they form a living column that stands proudly in the garden, vibrant yet peaceful. Creating a succulent tower is surprisingly simple. Start with bottles of equal size, cut openings along the sides, and stack them vertically around a central rod or wooden pole for stability. Fill each with soil, then tuck in succulents of different textures and colors. Over time, they will root firmly, their leaves reaching toward the sun, transforming discarded plastic into a vertical oasis. The tower can be as tall or short as you wish. In small gardens, a modest stack of 3 bottles can brighten a corner. In larger spaces, a towering column can become a centerpiece, drawing eyes from every direction. Painted bottles add an extra touch. Pastel shades of mint, rose, and lavender give the tower a soft, dreamlike presence. There is a quiet poetry in this design. The bottles, once empty and forgotten, now support 100 small lives. They prove that strength does not always come from permanence. It can also come from renewal. Visitors will pause, leaning closer to trace the delicate shapes of the plants, marveling at how waste has become wonder. And for the gardener, tending the tower brings its own joy. A gentle watering, a pruning here and there, and the tower continues to thrive. With every glance, it offers a reminder. Beauty grows tallest when built on creativity. In the quiet of the morning, when the air is still and the garden hums with possibility, a soft flutter of wings arrives. Birds, tiny, colorful, full of song, circle around a bottle that hangs gracefully among the flowers. Once discarded, the bottle now cradles seeds, transforming into a feeder that welcomes life from the skies. With each visit, the garden feels more alive, not just with blossoms, but with song. There is something soothing about watching birds gather. A sparrow hops lightly along the rim. A finch pecks at seeds, pausing to glance around. Their movements are delicate, their trust a gentle gift. By turning bottles into feeders, you invite these visitors into your garden, offering them nourishment while filling the air with melody. Creating a bird feeder from bottles is both elegant and simple. A tall wine bottle or sturdy plastic bottle works best. Fill it with grains or birdseed. Attach a small wooden base or tray at the bottom and suspend it from a branch or pole. The seeds flow slowly, replenishing the tray as the birds eat. With just a few adjustments, cut openings, add perches, you create a haven for feathers and song. What makes this design so special is how seamlessly it blends into the garden. The feeder becomes part of the landscape, framed by leaves and flowers, alive with motion. Morning coffee tastes richer when accompanied by bird songs at the window. Afternoons feel gentler with the flit of wings among the blossoms. And for children, each bird's arrival becomes a small moment of wonder, sparking curiosity about nature's rhythms. Over time, the feeder tells a story. Seasons bring different visitors: sparrows in spring, finches in summer, perhaps doves in autumn. Some bottles can be painted for color, others left clear to show the seeds inside. Each version is unique, shaped by the garden's needs and the gardener's hands. In truth, the feeder is more than decoration or utility. It is a bridge between the human world and the wild. Every seed offered is a gesture of kindness, every fluttering wing a reminder of connection. And when you see the bottle reborn, not as waste but as welcome, you understand beauty is not just what we create. It is what we share. At the edge of the garden, where curiosity meets invitation, hangs a curtain unlike any other. From a distance, it shimmers like water in the sun. Step closer, and you see circles of color: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. Each one cut from the bottom of a bottle, strung together with patience and care. They sway gently in the breeze, catching light and scattering it like jewels across the grass. This is the rainbow bottle curtain, a doorway into a garden's secret heart. Passing through it feels like stepping into another world. Sunlight filters through the colors, painting your clothes and skin in shifting patterns. The garden beyond seems brighter, more alive, as if the curtain itself has whispered an invitation to notice more deeply. Flowers glow with richer hues, leaves tremble with hidden brilliance, and the air hums with possibility. Making such a curtain is a simple craft with magical results. Collect bottles in various colors, or paint them if you prefer. Cut off the bottoms, smooth the edges, and drill a small hole in each piece. Thread them together with fishing line, wire, or sturdy string, creating long strands that you can hang between posts, trees, or along a pergola. The effect is immediate, a cascade of light and color that moves with the wind. This project is as versatile as it is beautiful. In small gardens, it can serve as a playful divider between spaces, a boundary that doesn't shut but welcomes. In larger gardens, it can frame a pathway, creating a sense of wonder for those who walk through. At night, add a few small solar lights above, and the curtain glimmers softly like starlight woven into the air. The rainbow curtain is more than decoration. It is an experience. Children laugh as they run through, chasing the colors. Guests pause, surprised at the joy of such a simple creation. And for the gardener, it is a daily reminder. Beauty is not only found in flowers and leaves, but also in the imagination we bring to our spaces. Here, in the gentle sway of bottles reborn, the garden learns to sing in color. A curtain made of waste becomes a doorway into wonder. Time moves differently in a garden. It is measured not in minutes and hours, but in blossoms, breezes, and the slow turning of the seasons. Yet on a sunny garden wall, a clock brings those rhythms together. Its numbers are not carved from wood or cast from metal, but shaped from bottle caps, painted brightly and arranged in a circle that feels both playful and poetic. At first glance, the clock looks like art, an array of colors, each cap a tiny burst of history. Step closer, and you notice the hands moving gently, tracing time in quiet arcs. A breeze stirs the leaves nearby, the caps glisten in the light, and suddenly, time feels less like a command and more like a companion. Making a bottle cap garden clock is a joyful craft. Begin with a sturdy backing, wood, metal, or even a large old tray. Collect caps in many shades, smoothing them clean and painting them if needed. Arrange 12 of them in a circle, securing them firmly in place. Add clock hands, perhaps shaped like vines or petals, to tie the design to the garden itself. Install a simple clock mechanism, and suddenly waste becomes wonder, marking each moment with creativity. Placed on a garden wall, pergola, or fence, the clock becomes more than functional. It's a piece of art that tells a story of renewal. Guests will pause to admire the unexpected numbers. Children will learn to read time with laughter, tracing hours across colors. And the gardener, glancing at the clock, will be reminded to breathe with the pace of the garden. Slow, steady, present. Over time, the paint may soften, blending with the weather, becoming part of the garden's character. You can refresh it with new colors each season, or let it age gracefully, a reminder that time itself wears many faces. The bottle cap clock whispers a gentle truth. Time in the garden is not something to race against. It is something to savor, and every tick, every painted cap, becomes part of a larger story, one where waste transforms into beauty, and every hour holds a chance to create. In the heat of summer, when the sun leans heavy and bright, a roof of flowers and light offers gentle relief. Yet here, above a simple garden table, the shade does not come from tiles or wood, but from bottles cut in half and transformed into a mosaic canopy. Each piece catches the sunlight, softening it into tones of lavender, mint, coral, and rose. The air beneath feels cooler, calmer, a place where rest and beauty meet. This floral roof shade is a lesson in transformation. Bottles once cast aside are cut, painted, and arranged into patterns that mimic blossoms. When fitted together, they create not just shelter but artwork. The light that filters through is unlike any other. Fractured, playful, alive. Herbs on the table glow softly, strawberries ripen in peace, and conversations linger longer beneath the comfort of shifting color. Building it is as practical as it is poetic. Begin with a simple frame, wooden beams, a pergola, or even bamboo poles. Collect bottles of similar size, cut them neatly in half, and arrange them like petals or tiles across the roof. Fix them securely with wire or screws, overlapping slightly so they catch both sun and shade. With time and patience, the canopy comes alive, turning sunlight into a painter's brush across the garden floor. The roof can serve many roles. It might shelter a quiet corner where you sip tea in the morning. It could shade a dining table where family gathers for summer meals. Or it may crown a reading nook where filtered light makes every page glow. Wherever it stands, the floral roof shade transforms the space, making it feel both protected and enchanted. The real magic lies not just in its function, but in its message. This roof whispers that even waste can hold the sky, that shade can bloom from what once was empty, and that beauty, when built with care, can be both useful and profound. As the day passes, the colors shift with the angle of the sun. By evening, the roof glows gently, as though it has gathered the day's warmth to hold until tomorrow. Beneath it, life slows, laughter echoes, and the garden breathes in rhythm with the light. And so, as we reach the end of today's journey, let us pause for a quiet breath. The garden has spoken to us in colors, textures, and whispers of renewal. What was once waste has been reshaped into beauty. What was once forgotten now shines with purpose. Each idea we explored was more than a craft. It was a reminder that with patience and imagination, even the simplest things can bloom into wonders. Here, in the soft rhythm of nature, we have seen how bottles can become walls of color, lanterns of light, and towers of green. Each creation is not just an object, but a story of transformation, of care, and of choosing to see possibility where others see none. These are the lessons the garden leaves with us. That beauty is not always bought, that joy can be handmade, and that life, like a garden, grows richer when we nurture it with love. This is the spirit of TERAFLORA Studio. Our hope is that every idea shared here does more than decorate your home or garden. We hope it inspires you to see the world with gentler eyes, to find magic in the everyday, and to create with a heart full of wonder. If you have found comfort and inspiration in these stories, we warmly invite you to stay connected. By subscribing, you are not only supporting this channel, but also becoming part of a community that believes in creativity, care, and renewal. Together, we can continue to turn small acts into extraordinary beauty. Thank you for walking this path with us today. Until our next story, may your days be filled with peace, and your garden, whether large or small, forever bloom with joy.